All right, listen, we have just literally two minutes left here,
Okay.
3 minutes. But let's just sort of like broadly speaking. Warren came out today with a specific plan to finance Medicare for All, and it calls for, and her plan apparently is a little bit more expensive than outlined in Bernie Sanders' plan. Now, she is talking about the implementation of Medicare for All, the bill that Bernie Sanders introduced and that she co-sponsored along with about another half dozen or dozen senators, maybe. Give me your sense of this, because there's, like I'm seeing people saying that this is devastating because this is going to allow Donald Trump to win. And, I think, and this is coming from, sort of more, I don't want to say centrist Democrats, but more sort of like, I don't know.
Fearful Democrats. I mean, this is ridiculous. I do not see this as being politically risky in the way that these people are talking about. I mean, look, none of us, and I shouldn't speak for you, but I'll speak for myself here. I don't have a deep understanding of healthcare financing in this country, or the way that these things are going to be implemented in terms of the details are not things that I am personally going to delve into. I'm not a healthcare expert. I'm not a financial expert. But I do observe politics pretty closely. And I think that in this election, you are in a situation where I think that the electorate is looking, I don't know what they're looking for, but I think it's smart for any politician to think big. We are in a position where, things have gone completely off the rails. I think there is an argument to be made that we need fundamental reform. And healthcare is one area where that has to happen. Now, for whatever reasons, the Democrats have decided that everyone has to put out a highly detailed plan about everything that they're going to do, unlike, say Donald Trump, who said, I'm building a wall and Mexico's going to pay for it, and that was good enough. So the Democrats want more detail. Fine. They've got the detail from her. They've got detail from other of the candidates. And I think that what the overall message is there is that we are, if the Democrats take over, we're not just going to, I'm not talking about Joe Biden here, but even his plan is more detailed than in more
right.
Revolutionary than one might expect from him. But that they're going to say, look, we're not just going to go back to status quo. Let's pretend that none of this Donald Trump stuff happened. We recognize that this is a sign that something has gone terribly awry, and we're going to have to fix a lot of things, fundamental reform. And I think that's Elizabeth Warren's brand. And I think that she's, quite good at it. The politics of this, we're all going to squabble amongst ourselves over the details, pretending like we know what they are, and pretending like this plan is going to come, be fully formed and be enacted exactly as the way she wrote it. But the reality is that the signal all of this sends to the electorate is, look, we're not kidding here. This is serious business. We have to do something very, very, fundamental to reform everything, government, healthcare, the economy, all these things have to be dealt with, because look where it led. It led to Donald Trump. And I think it's a damn good message. I really do. I think the Democrats would be wise to embrace it and run with it, because I think people, there's some sense of just kind of, there's a fear in the pit of our stomach, like, geez, how did this happen? Well, the Democrats are telling the people how it happened.
I mean, I think it's clear, at this point, Sanders has put out about a half dozen different options that would be pay-fors. Warren got more specific to a certain extent because she was sort of boxed in on her refusal to talk about raising taxes, to talk about costs as opposed to taxes. And her plan, at least from a political standpoint, and I think there's some question as to whether the financing is, ultimately could work this way. I've seen some critiques on that. Some people have said that it's really just more of something like the way that she's offloading a lot of the tax burden on employers is something you could do on a temporary basis, but ultimately employers would find workarounds. That's all well and good. This is her ability to say no raising of taxes on the middle class. Now, she's also calling for things like cuts in military budget to pay for this, which I think that's also a good sort of political message. And I agree with you. This notion of watching people with their hand wringing about a Medicare for All or any of these proposals as to like, people are not going to want to allow rich people to go to college for free. That's going to be so offensive to people in the general election. Or the idea of like, Donald Trump's going to get out there and is going to be able to effectively message you're going to lose your private health insurance if you get, full coverage from the government is just absurd. In a total sort of like normalized, barely people pay attention to politics universe, the idea of like, hey, out of blue, people are saying you're going to lose your private insurance. I could see what? I haven't been paying attention to anything in politics lately, but I don't want to, wait, what's this whole thing? In the context of the political era that we're living in, the idea of like losing my health, private health insurance for everything else to be paid for, like to get like a complete free ride, it just doesn't have the same political salience that it would have at another time. And I think people have got to get through that through their heads and get with the program. But we're going to talk more about this in the future, Heather. And I appreciate. I think that's a very good first salvo as we head into the next 12 months or so.
Yeah, it's not the last we're going to hear about healthcare in this campaign. I think we'll be talking about it quite a bit. But, I'm glad we're talking about it. And all the big plans, I think they're great. I mean, that's exactly what the Democrats should be doing. Don't cower. My God. Yeah, that'll beat Donald Trump. Let's be afraid. That's a great approach.
All right, let's just all look forward to the series of fireside chats that I hope Donald Trump will give us.
Yes, I can't wait. And the T-shirts, I'm getting mine. Read the transcript. That's the best plan I've heard.
I want to read the transcript. We should be putting out those.
Yes, I think everyone should wear one because I think it's actually a good idea. But let's not buy them from the Trump campaign.
No, I'm going to print them up.
Put them out. Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Thanks, Heather. We'll talk to you soon.
My pleasure. All right. Bye-bye.
Folks can check out Digby over at Hullabaloo, or which is digbysblog.blogspot.com if you can buy it, if you can believe it. I think it's also, I don't know what else, that's the one I know. And over at salon.com. All right, going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will talk to David Roth, formerly of the former Deadspin.